The phone rang, a shrill sound that sliced through the quiet of the afternoon. Emma jumped, startled. The unexpected noise shattered the peaceful silence she had been enjoying. She set down her cup of tea, her pulse quickening. Who could be calling? The landline was rarely used, almost forgotten in this age of mobile phones. It had been years since anyone had called her on this line. The phone had become more of a relic, a piece of the past she had left behind. Hesitantly, she picked up the receiver. Emma, hello? Her voice trembled slightly, betraying her unease. She said, her voice barely a whisper. Silence. The kind of silence that felt heavy, almost oppressive. A cold, empty silence met her greeting. It was as if the caller was waiting, watching, deciding what to say next. Emma shivered, a prickle of unease crawling up her spine. The silence was unnerving, making her feel exposed and vulnerable. She was about to hang up when a voice, raspy and low, whispered on the other end. It was a voice she didn't recognize, yet it felt strangely familiar.
Blackwood Manor, remembers. You. The words were slow, deliberate, and filled with an eerie sense of foreboding.
The line went dead. Emma stood frozen, her mind racing. The name Blackwood Manor echoed in her thoughts, stirring up memories she had long tried to forget. The phone slipped from her numb fingers and clattered onto the floor. The sound seemed to reverberate through the room, amplifying her shock. The clattering of the phone on the floor jolted her back to reality. She stared at it as if expecting it to ring again, to offer some explanation. Blackwood Manor. The name echoed in the silence of her kitchen, stirring up forgotten memories, long buried. Memories of a place she had once called home, a place filled with both joy and sorrow. Stirring up forgotten memories, long buried. She remembered the grand halls, the laughter, and the shadows that lurked in every corner. A wave of dizziness washed over her. She gripped the edge of the counter, trying to steady herself. The past was catching up to her, and it was overwhelming. The phone call, the mention of Blackwood Manor, it was all too strange, too unsettling. What did it mean? Why now after all these years? And who was this mysterious caller? The voice had been so haunting, so filled with an unspoken threat. Fear, cold and sharp, gripped her heart. She felt as if she was being pulled back into a past she had fought so hard to escape. She had tried so hard to outrun her past, to leave behind the shadows of Blackwood Manor. She had built a new life, a new identity, to build a new life for herself and her son Ben. They had found happiness, a sense of normalcy. But it seemed the past had a way of catching up, no matter how far you ran. The phone call was a stark reminder that some things could never be truly left behind. Emma knew she had to face whatever was coming. She couldn't let fear control her. She had to protect her son, and that meant confronting the ghosts of her past. With a deep breath, she picked up the phone from the floor. She would find out who had called and why. She would uncover the secrets of Blackwood Manor, no matter the cost. Later that evening, Emma rummaged through the attic, her heart pounding in her chest. The phone call had unearthed a box of memories she thought were long buried. She dug through stacks of dusty boxes, her fingers tracing the faded labels. Baby clothes, photo albums, Ben's artwork. Finally, she found it, a simple wooden box tucked away in the corner. The wood was old and worn, the once bright paint faded and chipped. She lifted the lid, her breath catching in her throat. Inside, nestled amidst yellowed lace, lay a collection of old photographs and a small leather-bound diary. Emma picked up a photo, her fingers trembling slightly. It was her, a younger, carefree version of herself, standing in front of a grand, imposing mansion. Blackwood Manor, the same mansion from the phone call. Her eyes darted to the diary, a sense of foreboding washing over her. With a deep breath, she opened it, her eyes scanning the faded ink. The words, written in a childish scrawl, sent a shiver down her spine. The shadows whisper secrets here. They watch. They wait. The next morning, Emma found herself drawn back to Blackwood Manor. The memories of her childhood, both sweet and bitter, tugged at her heartstrings, compelling her to return. She had tried to dismiss the phone call, the box, as nothing more than a cruel prank. But the voice on the other end, the familiarity of it, gnawed at her mind. But deep down, a knot of unease twisted in her stomach. It was a feeling she couldn't shake, a sense of foreboding that had settled deep within her. She needed answers. She needed to know what it all meant. The cryptic messages, the eerie coincidences, they all pointed to something she couldn't ignore. The once grand manor loomed before her, now a decaying relic of its former glory. Its walls, once vibrant and full of life, now stood as a testament to the passage of time and neglect. Weeds choked the overgrown gardens, and the windows stared down like empty eyes. The manor, once a place of joy and laughter, now seemed to whisper secrets of the past. As she stepped inside, a musty smell filled her nostrils, the air thick with dust and decay. The creaking floorboards beneath her feet echoed through the empty halls, a reminder of the life that once thrived here. She wandered through the echoing halls, each creaking step sending shivers down her spine. The shadows seemed to dance around her, playing tricks on her mind. In what was once her best friend, Lisa's room, she found another diary tucked beneath a floorboard. The sight of it brought back a flood of memories, of the times they spent together and the secrets they shared. This one, filled with Lisa's elegant handwriting, spoke of strange occurrences, of shadows moving in the night, and of a presence dark and sinister that haunted the manor. The words seemed to leap off the page, each one more chilling than the last. The words confirmed Emma's worst fears. This was no prank. The events described in the diary mirrored the strange happenings she had experienced herself. Something was terribly wrong, and she feared it was connected to her, to her past, and now, possibly, to her son. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks, leaving her breathless and more determined than ever to uncover the truth. She knew she had to dig deeper, to find out what really happened all those years ago. The answers were here, hidden within the walls of Blackwood Manor, and she was determined to find them no matter the cost. Days turned into a blur of fear and anxiety. The phone call, the diaries, Lisa's cryptic warnings, they all pointed to a growing darkness, a presence that seemed to be closing in. Emma could feel it in the air, a heavy, oppressive weight that seemed to follow her every move. The once comforting hum of daily life had turned into a cacophony of unsettling sounds and eerie silences. Emma's once peaceful home felt different now, the silence broken by unexplained noises, the creaking of floorboards, the rustling of leaves outside her window. Ben, her 8-year-old son, had started noticing her fear. He would often find her staring blankly at the walls, lost in thought, her face pale and drawn. The house, which had once been a sanctuary, now felt like a prison, its walls closing in on her. He asked one night, his big brown eyes filled with concern. "Mommy, why are you scared?" His innocent question pierced through her heart, making her realize just how much her fear was affecting him. "Emma, it's just an old house, sweetie. There's nothing to be afraid of," she said, forcing a smile, her voice trembling. But even as she spoke the words, she felt a chill run down her spine. She knew she was lying, not just to Ben, but to herself. The house was more than just old. It was alive with a malevolent energy that seemed to feed off her fear. The shadows in their home seemed to deepen, taking on sinister shapes in the flickering lamplight. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, whispering her name, chilling her to the bone. She would lie awake at night, listening to the whispers, trying to make sense of the words, but they were always just out of reach, like a half-remembered dream. She remembered an old legend about Blackwood Manor, a tale whispered by the locals, a tale of a malevolent entity, a watcher, who preyed on those who dared to uncover its secrets. Her blood ran cold. The legend spoke of a curse, a darkness that would consume anyone who tried to uncover the truth. Emma had always dismissed it as just a story, but now she wasn't so sure. Had she awakened something evil, something she could no longer control? The thought gnawed at her, keeping her awake at night. She could feel the Watcher's presence, a cold, unyielding force that seemed to be watching her every move. S4. Media. Child asking a concerned or scared question to parent. Parent comforting a child. "Mommy, why are you scared?" Ben's voice brought her back to reality, reminding her that she wasn't alone in this. She had to be strong for his sake, even if it meant facing the darkness head-on.